Throughout my childhood, I remember my father like nighttime. He spent all day behind corporate clouds parading computer concepts to foreign lands before deciding to return to this land he called home. But when he arrived, he was spectacular. Stars clasped in the firmament of his hands in the shapes of B2 bomber earrings for me, his baby girl. Unable to enjoy moonlights because of bedtimes, I shrunk into bed, my Big Dipper dad pouring fables into my ears as I went off to dreamland where I imagined that it was always night. And my dad always had enough time to sing me back awake to enjoy the glistening meteors in his eyes for a few more hours, but the carpool used to take him while I was sleeping. At 4 a.m., I would be peeking over the landing of the staircase, watching him trade places with my son-mother for the day shift. She hardly had time to spend kissing the dusk as he rushed to make sure the other side of the planet got to see his majestic mystery, but we hardly got to experience his brilliance before he was gone. So for my mother and me, I wished for the dawn where they both existed, straddling the fence of the morning and the backside of the night, sounding something like the weekends when my crescent father would peek from behind cotton ball cumuli to ride bikes down Eucalyptus Street. One hand holding my bicycle seat, the other steering between constellations, me hands-free trusting that the exhilaration of nightlife would never let me down. But his presence returned into the week like Halley's Comet into space. And us, his family, became onlookers, hoping that this week's 76 years would pass faster than the last 3 days and bring my father back home again. So we blew kisses to the wind, and he left Orion's belt to discipline. And for the next 5 days, he became a vapor, painting magnificent sunrises with his dirty clothing so we knew he'd been home even though we'd missed him. And when the calling came, he became church all day like Sundays, stretching out those mornings into our evenings and those long summer afternoons joined hands so I could only see my father between the pews, between the congregation's requests and the news where he would collapse, and I would rise and fall on his chest just to feel his breath when he snored. And I became cold like the shadow of my father leaving because his back was how I recognized him. He was registered father on my birth certificate but had been absentee voting for years, catching my choir performances through videotapes and cheers my mom tried to make loud enough to fill the space where your voice should have been. You were so concerned with us becoming homeless that you forgot we were home less one father at mealtimes. Me trying to find a glimmer of your laughter in my chicken and stars, but they didn't shine like you. And no matter how old I grew, I couldn't find a man like you. To this day, I spend my evenings wandering the streets, begging for a glimpse of your approval. I yearn for fall solstice because it's the only time I could have one more hour of you, my nighttime. And this time I said something because I don't know if I've ever told you how much I miss the evenings when the mornings come. And I can't count how many times I forsook the sunsets to punish the skylines for your absence, praying they would remind your soul that your baby girl, I'm still waiting for my daddy to come home.